I've been diving even deeper into the Wade Wilson rabbit hole, and what I've found is blowing my mind. Turns out, more details about his mother have surfaced. She was diagnosed with schizophrenia, which might explain some of the deeper mental health struggles that Wade faced. But that's not even the strangest part. I've been piecing together this wild story about Wade Wilson, the real person, and it's darker than I imagined. If you thought his connection to infamous figures like Stephen Avery and Brendan Dassey was eerie, wait until you hear about Aleister Crowley and how this ties back to Wade. For those who don't know, Aleister Crowley was one of the most notorious occultists of the 20th century. Born in 1875, he was deeply involved in the occult and founded the religion of Thelema, which revolved around the phrase, "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law." Crowley believed in harnessing personal power through rituals and dark arts, and he became known as the Beast 666, a title he fully embraced. Crowley was a master of magic, particularly a type called ceremonial magic or chaos magic, and his work influenced countless occult practices. He claimed to have communicated with entities from other dimensions, particularly through his notorious Book of the Law, which he said was dictated to him by a supernatural being named Iwas. Crowley's teachings emphasized tapping into the hidden forces of the universe, forces that, in the wrong hands, could lead to chaos and destruction. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Wade Wilson's family tree is linked to Geoffrey Crowley, a relative of Aleister Crowley, suggesting that Wade may have inherited not just a bloodline, but also the dark energy that Crowley harnessed. Imagine this: Wade, growing up with a turbulent past and likely searching for control in his chaotic life, may have been drawn to some of Crowley's teachings, practicing occult rituals to gain power or understanding. Some believe Wade may have been dabbling in dark arts, possibly tapping into those same hidden forces that Crowley preached about. But instead of finding power, Wade may have been consumed by it. If Crowley believed in summoning entities from other realms, what if Wade unintentionally invited something dark into his life? Something that fed on the chaos and violence within him? Was he reaching for control, but instead fell victim to the very forces that Crowley warned could overwhelm even the strongest mind? When I started researching further, I found something else that's just as chilling. Wade was reportedly terrified of being chased by aliens as a teenager, but given everything we know about his connection to Crowley and the family's dark history, you have to wonder, was it really aliens, or something more sinister? Could it have been demons, or even the spirits of his ancestors trying to pull him deeper into the abyss? There's also that massive obelisk in Kentucky where Wade's family roots lie. Obelisks are believed by some occultists to be focal points for spiritual energy, both good and bad. What if Wade's proximity to this monument, combined with his occult practices, acted as a magnet for negative energy? The deeper you go into this, the more it feels like Wade wasn't just a product of a troubled life. There's a dark, spiritual connection here, one that may have been pulling the strings long before he ever committed his crimes. Whether it was Crowley's influence, demonic forces, or the legacy of his bloodline, it's clear that Wade was tied to something far darker than just the reality we see. At this point, you have to ask, was Wade Wilson even in control of his own destiny? Or was he merely a puppet in a much larger, darker game that started generations before he was even born? I'm not quite sure, But I do believe that there is more to Wade Wilson's story.